I pray for you today. I bow in the quiet of this moment and I ask, from the deepest part of my heart, that grace find you like the morning sun finding the slow open petals of a faithful flower. I pray that peace settle around you like a blanket woven by hands that know every sorrow you have carried. I come before the throne on your behalf, and I lift your name, your scars, your longings, your invisible burdens, and your private hopes. I lay them down now in a place of rest. I pray first for rest, the kind of rest that rearranges the spirit. If your nights have been heavy with worry, if sleep has been a distant shore you cannot reach, I ask that rest come and sit with you. May your chest unclench. May breath lengthen. May the churn of fear in the mind become still waters. I pray for restorative sleep that heals the things no doctor can touch, the places that ache from words unsaid, memories that replay like old songs, the quiet replay of failure. May the God of peace breathe a deeper sleep into your bones. Let the deep places in you receive this night's gift of repair. I pray for healing. I pray for the mending of what is torn, broken relationships, broken dreams, broken health. I come before the source of life and speak over the wounds that have not yet closed. Where there is sickness, I pray for the gentle hand of healing to touch the body, to steady trembling hands, to ease pain, to restore organ function and nervous systems, and to reweave the delicate balance of the body. I pray for emotional healing, for the places your heart has hardened or hollowed. May love find its way back to those places and may forgiveness flow where bitterness has lodged. I pray that the ache in memories be softened by a presence that holds you warmly and does not judge, a presence that says, I understand, and I will carry this with you. I pray for protection. In seasons where shadows have been long, I speak a covering over your life. I pray that unseen dangers are turned away and that every scheme that hunts your peace be confused and dismantled. I pray for a guarding presence around your home, your mind, your work, and the intimate places of your heart. Where fear whispers false futures, I bind its lies and I proclaim truth. Where forces would divide your family, I call a hedge of peace and understanding. Where there are accidents waiting in the wings, I plead for you to be kept, for every step to be guided, for every path to be lit. I pray for provision. I stand in faith for the supply your life needs, not the empty, hurried kind of supply, but the steady, sufficient abundance that breathes ease into living. Where there is lack, I declare provision. Where there is debt, I pray for doors opening and wise hands to steward what comes. I ask that work be meaningful, that employers and clients see your value, and that opportunities appear that align with both your gifting and your integrity. I pray for finances that free instead of bind, for resources that multiply and for the wisdom to steward them with humility. I pray, even more specifically, for relationships. For every person listening who carries a heavy memory of hurt inflicted by someone they once trusted, I pray for healing conversations and the kind of reconciliation that is wise and whole. And where reconciliation is not safe or not possible, I pray for the strength to grieve and the peace to release what must be released. For those longing for companionship, for a friend, for a partner, for a kindred spirit, I ask that timing be tender and that the right people find their way to you. For those in marriages that feel small and tired, I lift a cry for renewal. May patient listening return, may curiosity replace complaint, may tenderness be rediscovered in ordinary days. For those who parent tired children, I pray renewed patience and a reservoir of humor, and for children themselves, I ask for protection, kindness, and the shaping of compassionate hearts. I pray for calling and purpose. If you have felt the sting of doubt regarding your calling, if the voice of fear has overlaid the gentle nudging you once felt, I pray that clarity break in like morning. May small, measurable steps reveal the pattern of the road ahead. Give courage for the first step and the endurance for the long haul. I ask for favor in doors of influence, for mentors who see the shape of your gift before you can name it fully, and for opportunities that are not shortcuts but sanctified paths toward your divine assignment. I pray for the minds of those who are anxious. Anxiety is a thief with soft hands. It borrows hope and never returns it. I command, in faith, the loosening of anxiety's grip. I ask for clear thinking and balanced emotions. When intrusive thoughts rise, may calm reasoning and a stilling presence move in. I pray for the kinds of practical anchors, friends who listen, tools that help, counseling, rest, discipline routines, and the courage to use them without shame. I pray also for those who are stuck in the paralysis of perfectionism. May gentleness replace relentless self-critique, and may progress be celebrated even when it is imperfect. I pray for those whose faith feels small today. If doubt circles like a hawk and questions press hard, I pray for encounters that enlarge faith, a gentle miracle, a whispered reassurance in prayer, a book that lands at the right time, a conversation with someone whose honesty frees you from the burden of needing to have every answer. I ask that you experience the nearness of what you cannot fully explain, and that your heart be softened to receive help and truth in the same breath. May faith be restored not by pressure but by patient proof. I pray for those walking through seasons of grief. Grief has no one-size-fits-all timeline, and it is not polite to measure another person's mourning. I pray instead for tenderness for the mourner. May compassion find you in coffee-scented mornings and in nights when silence swells. I pray for friends who know how to sit in presence without rushing to advice. I pray for small pleasures to return, a book read slowly, a walk where the wind reminds you that life persists, a memory that grants a laugh amid the tears. I ask that grief be honored and that, over time, hope be cultivated again in that soil. I pray for those who are fighting addiction, whatever shape it takes. Addiction isolates and shrouds good intention in shame. I ask for deliverance and help, for clear pathways to recovery, for trustworthy people to walk alongside, for medical and psychological support when needed, and for the humility to accept help. I pray for cravings to be weakened and for new rhythms, work, rest, art, worship, to fill the place addiction had claimed. I pray particularly for renewed identity beyond that struggle, that each person hears and remembers their worth and dignity. I pray for those who carry heavy responsibilities, caregivers, parents, those who lead households or communities. May strength be multiplied. May moments of rest be captured, even if small, a quiet cup of tea, 5 minutes of breath, a step outside. I pray for encouragement to arrive at the right moment, a friend's call, a neighbor's unexpected kindness, or a simple note that says, "I see you." I ask that the weight become shared and that help arrive without shame. I pray for those whose work feels empty or unnoticed. I see the long hours, the thankless shifts, the tasks done without applause. I pray that your work would not be meaningless, that it will bear influence beyond what you can see. I ask for opportunities to use your gifts in new places where they are recognized and rewarded. I pray also for rest from the need to prove your worth by productivity alone. May you be valued simply for who you are, independent of output. I pray for justice where injustice grips tightly. To those in places of oppression, poverty, or systemic neglect, I lift a strong cry for breakthrough. I pray for wise advocates and for systems to bend toward fairness. I ask for resources to come to communities in honest and useful ways. For those who work for change, community organizers, legal advocates, volunteers, I pray endurance, clear strategy, and protection. I pray for the lonely. Loneliness is a public ache even in crowded places. I pray for connections, for neighbors who become friends, for local groups that welcome, for church communities that practice practical hospitality, for workplaces that cultivate friendship. I pray for those whose loneliness is deep and chronic, that they would find steady companionship and meaningful belonging, and that small, persistent acts of friendship would stitch new fabric into life. I pray for those needing courage to speak truth in hard places. Whether it is a difficult conversation at work, a boundary-setting moment in a family, or the naming of an injustice, I ask for words that are both clear and kind. May courage be wrapped in wisdom. May timing be ordained. May hearts be open in the listening. I pray for reconciliation where conflict has stretched years between people who once loved well. I pray not for forced truce but for genuine reweaving, honesty for the hurt, admission where pride has held sway, willingness to see another's brokenness, and the humility to ask for forgiveness. Where true reconciliation is not possible, I pray for peace and surrender and the courage to protect what must be protected. I pray for creativity and the opening of imagination. For every artist, writer, musician, crafter, and maker listening, I ask for fresh vision and the patient discipline to bring it into being. May critics be gentle and may support come from unexpected places. For those who believe they have no gift, I pray a surprising stirring, a small, curious delight in making that grows and becomes a voice. I pray for healing in families where old wounds have hardened into defense. I ask for the grace that softens bones of stubbornness, the humility that disarms bitterness, and the patience that models steady love. I pray for clear communication, for family councils where truth is spoken tenderly, and for rituals of repair, small acts repeated that rebuild trust over time. I pray for mental health. I carry before the throne those whose mind is a storm, depression's weight, bipolar shifts, anxiety's quicksilver. I pray for accessible, effective care, for therapists that understand the whole person, for medications that are helpful, for community that is compassionate, for employers who offer rest and support. I pray specifically for stigma to erode and for those suffering to be embraced rather than hidden. I ask for insight for practitioners and for recovery that looks like renewed meaning in manageable days. I pray for faithfulness in small things. So often the large calls are fulfilled by those who remained faithful in the little spaces, a consistent kindness, a habit of prayer, the discipline of finishing what was started. I ask that small habits be blessed, the dawning 5 minutes of prayer that turns into daily communion, the habit of writing one page, the weekly meal made with care. I pray that what seems small will reveal itself to be the seed of future abundance. I pray for the elderly and the vulnerable. For those who feel overlooked and whose days are measured in quietness and routine, I ask for dignity and for care that honors a lifetime. May their stories be heard. May their needs be met. May their days be marked by compassion and not isolation. For those in fragile health, I pray the steadying presence of loving caregivers and of support that softens fear. I pray for children and teenagers who are forming identity in a noisy world. I ask for anchors, caring adults, steady routines, mentors who listen, and peer groups that build rather than tear down. For those who are bullied, I ask protection and interventions that restore safety. For young minds tempted to despair, I speak hope, a sense that life can change, that identity is more than circumstance, and that gifts will appear over time. I pray for those who are making hard decisions. For students choosing a path, for workers choosing a change, for parents making complex calls, for those considering leaving an exhausting job or relocation, I ask for clarity. May the fog lift. May wise counsel arrive. I pray for confidence to choose and for peace to follow each choice when made with integrity. I pray for those who have been betrayed. Betrayal leaves a wound that is both personal and existential, trust broken, a world rearranged. I ask for courage to name the pain, for friends to stand with you in truth, for the measured wisdom to set boundaries, and for the slow reclaiming of trust when it is safe to do so. I pray also for the inner peace that refuses to be defined by another's action. I pray for the persecuted and the confined. For people who lose liberty for their faith or conscience, I cry for deliverance and for local and international help. For those in prisons or in captivity, I ask for humane treatment and for legal paths to justice. I pray for families torn by the loss of safety and the anguish of waiting. I pray for nations and leaders. I lift requests for wise governance and compassionate policy. I ask that those in power hear the cries of the poor and craft systems that protect rather than exploit. For leaders who carry heavy burdens, I ask for wisdom measured by empathy and for advisors who counsel with integrity. I pray for revival, not the sensational image the world might imagine, but a deep, steady renewal in ordinary people who return to love and small, daily acts of holiness. I ask for communities to be places where prayer is not performance but presence, where compassion is the currency and humility the norm. Let renewal begin in household kitchens, then spread to streets, then to cities and beyond. I pray for breakthrough in stalled dreams. For those who have labored in planting and see no harvest, I ask for seasons of fruitfulness. I pray for timing that aligns with wisdom, for doors to open that were closed, and for the stamina to continue when the road becomes steep. May past failures be fertilizer and not final judgment. I pray for the gift of perspective. Often the weight we carry is magnified because we lack the perspective of time or of the larger story. I pray for eyes that can see beyond the immediate, for friends who can say what only a trusted voice can, and for a way of measuring success that values character over applause. I pray for repentance where it is needed, for honest inspection of heart, for courage to name wrongs and to make practical amends. Repentance is not self-condemnation, it is the brave work of course correction. I pray for freedom where guilt lingers without transformation and for a humility that rebuilds trust. I pray also for mercy, mercy upon relationships, upon nations, upon choices made in ignorance. Where judgment sits heavy, I ask for mercy to lead, for restoration rather than endless ruin, and for a future that learns from failures while rebuilding what is good. I pray for the arts and for storytellers. Stories shape culture, and I ask that songs, films, books, and paintings rise that celebrate truth, complexity, and beauty. May artists be supported and may their work not be commodified into emptiness. I pray for the environment, for those suffering the consequences of neglect, for farmers whose seasons are disrupted, for communities facing climate extremes. May ingenuity and compassion drive solutions. May those most affected receive priority in aid and policy. I pray for those who are tempted toward despair. I ask for small, faithful rescuers, a message, a stranger's kindness, a safe call that interrupts the path to hopelessness. I ask for strategies and supports for those who feel cornered by life, that they may find routes to safety and meaning. I pray for the church and for spiritual communities. I lift a cry for purity of heart, for integrity among leaders, and for the humility to correct when needed. I ask for churches to practice radical hospitality and for communities to be places of refuge rather than fortress. Let theology be tempered by compassion, and let doctrine be expressed in acts of mercy. I pray for clarity about truth in a world of noise. When confusion proliferates, may discernment grow. I ask for the kind of listening that weights what is said with wisdom and the humility to change positions when truth requires it. May honesty prevail over cleverness. I pray for the practical things, for repairs to homes, for bills to meet deadlines, for travel to be safe, for documents to be in order, for small irritations to be smoothed. I know how these small things can compound into crushing stress. I lift them now and ask for small resolutions that stitch comfort into daily life. I pray for spiritual gifts to stir. For those who thirst for deeper connection, in prayer, in prophetic sensitivity, in teaching, in service, I ask for growth in gifts used for serving others with humility. May gifts not be for personal pride but for the building of community and the healing of the broken. I pray for patience. Patience is not passive, it is an active trust that time and right action, guided by wisdom, will shape things rightly. I ask that impatience be curbed and that steady endurance be sown into the days ahead. I pray for courage to grieve and the courage to hope. These are not opposites. There is bravery in both. I ask that each person listening be given room to do both well, to grieve what is lost and to hope for what is coming. May the grief be true and the hope be patient and steady. I pray for language, that you may find words that bless and words that heal. For those who feel tongue-tied, I ask for clarity. For those who wound by careless speech, I pray for restraint and for repair. Let conversation become a path to understanding rather than a trench of battle. I pray for boundaries, for the wisdom to say no when yes would be harmful, and for the courage to protect the sacred rhythms of rest and work. Boundaries are not walls but gates that preserve what matters. I pray for those who steward children and youth in schools, teachers, coaches, mentors. Grant them patience, creative energy, and safety. I ask that schools be places of learning and emotional safety, that children be seen and not reduced to statistics, and that each child finds a person who invests in their life. I pray for forgiveness where it is required. Forgiveness is a power not to erase what was done but to free the forgiver. I ask for hearts to release hatred and to allow healing to begin. For those who cannot forgive, I pray for processes that make freedom possible over time. I pray for renewed wonder. May everyday things regain their brilliance, the cup of coffee in the morning, the sky at dusk, the laugh of a friend, the tiny pattern on a leaf. Wonder restores humility and opens gratitude. I pray for those navigating complex medical journeys. For families on long paths of care and treatment, for those awaiting diagnosis, for those who have received hard news. I ask for clarity for doctors, for wisdom in decision-making, and for comfort that walks with them daily. May medical teams work with competence and compassion. I pray for those in creative dry spells. May discipline and delight meet. May the well be refilled by small joys. May curiosity return like a tide. I pray for grace for those who fail to be what they wanted to be. We are all works in progress. I ask for hands of mercy to lift and to help rebuild identity and habit. I pray for humble leadership in every sphere, in families, companies, communities, and nations. Give leaders a servant's heart and the strength to turn power into service. I pray for the strongholds that linger in hearts, fear of rejection, fear of failure, patterns of envy, the voices that belittle. I plead for those chains to be loosened, for new songs to be learned, and for community to help shape new, healthy rhythms. I pray for the small acts of courage that change trajectories, a reconciliatory phone call, an application sent despite fear, a first step into recovery, a first page written. May the Spirit give strength for beginnings. I pray for humility and victory. For the times when doors open and praise comes, I ask that humility remain, that gratitude anchor success, and that victories be used to bless others rather than to elevate self. I pray for endurance in seasons of waiting. Waiting is its own discipline. May resilience be cultivated, curiosity preserved, and expectation steady even when visible signs are absent. May the hidden work of preparation prove worth the waits. I pray for clarity in relationships with technology and media, for discernment about what to consume, for times of rest from screens, for communities to be formed offline as well as online. I ask that technology be a tool, not a tyrant. I pray for those who have been hardened by failure. I ask for a softening that allows learning and adaptability, for the courage to try new routes, and for the removal of shame that keeps one from trying again. I pray for the practical gifts of wisdom, the right word at the right time, an idea that opens a path, an insight into next steps. I pray for creative solutions to knotty problems. I pray for those who carry guilt that is rightly theirs and for those who carry guilt they do not deserve. For the first, I ask for the strength to make amends and to change course. For the second, I ask for liberation and truth to bring freedom. I pray for the witness of generosity. May generosity be contagious, a cup shared, time given, a resource offered. May communities be known for giving not for reputation but for compassion. I pray for reconciliation between science and faith when confusion arises. May curiosity and humility lead to honest exploration, and may truth be valued above certainty. I pray for the marginalized and silenced. May their voices find platforms. May justice be sought and solutions be created by those who listen first and then act. I pray for compassion that is not paternalistic but empowering. I pray for the healing of cultural wounds, memories of exclusion, historical injustices, and the pain passed down. I ask for truthful conversations, for restorative steps, and for humility that accepts responsibility where due. I pray for those who feel trapped in cycles of behavior passed down through generations. I ask for generations to be freed, for new patterns to be established through intention, therapy, spiritual care, and practical supports. I pray for the arts of hospitality. May your home be a place where strangers become friends and where griefs are held with quiet competence. May the table be a place of healing. I pray for mentors and those who invest in the next generation. Bless those who give time and expertise without counting the cost. May their sacrifices produce fruit that honors them. I pray for the gifts of curiosity and learning in an age of rapid change. May people be adaptable, teachable, and kind in the process of learning. I pray for the hearts of parents who fear for their children's future. Give them faith that love and wisdom shape a durable courage in the life of a child. May their efforts be multiplied in ways that matter. I pray for the restoration of delight for those who have lost it. May laughter return like a spring, honest and full-bodied. I pray for those in exile, literal or figurative. For refugees, for immigrants who miss a homeland, for those estranged from family, I ask for community and the right legal supports. For those exiled by disappointment, may new belonging be found. I pray for the deepening of prayer life for those who desire it. May rhythms form that are not legalistic but life-giving, a morning cup that becomes a conversation, a walk that becomes a prayer, a journal that becomes a map of growth. I ask for mentors and models that cultivate long-term practice. I pray for those who lead worship and those who craft frames for sacred moments. May their offerings be simple and sincere, and may audiences be drawn into honest presence rather than performance. I pray for healing in the places of shame. Shame hides in secret pockets and colors identity with lies. I speak a word that says shame will not be the final word. May intimate confessions find compassionate listeners, and may shame be exchanged for dignity. I pray for the steadying of temperament, for hot tempers to cool, for impulsivity to be tempered by thought, for patience to be cultivated in the soil of practice. I pray for those who grieve opportunities lost. I ask for new openings and for an ability to repurpose skills and desires into fresh paths. I pray for peace in cities and neighborhoods that face tension. May local leaders and residents collaborate, may empathy be fostered, and may practical steps towards safety and inclusion be taken. I pray for the endurance of volunteers and nonprofit workers, those who labor in service and often receive little recognition. Give them resources, community, and replenishment. I pray for those in the arts of hospitality, chefs, waitstaff, cleaners, those whose dignity is often invisible. May their labor be honored and their needs met. I pray for those whose work brings them into contact with trauma. May counselors, emergency responders, healthcare workers, and social workers find rest and healthy processing, and may secondary trauma be recognized and treated. I pray for the joy of simple pleasures, bread breaking, music shared, a sunrise seen slowly. I pray for integrity in speech and commerce. May promises be kept and transactions be honest. I pray for patience with progress. Some changes arrive quickly, others arrive over seasons. I pray for steady perseverance and for the inner light that keeps one going when the finish line seems distant. I pray for gratitude, not as a forced posture but as a cultivated eyesight that notices small mercies daily. May gratitude open doors to joy. I pray for clarity in vocation, for those who feel pulled in two directions. May peace settle on the right one. For those who need to pivot, I pray for discernment and courage. I pray for revival and moral courage, for people to speak for the voiceless, to stand up for what is right, and to do so without cruelty. I pray for renewed friendships, old companions who come back, new friends who root deeply. May conversations be honest and generous. I pray for the people who clean, repair, fix, and maintain the world, for janitors, repairmen, technicians. May their labor be rewarded and their dignity affirmed. I pray for a tender heart that can hold sorrow and joy at once, a heart that weeps for the world and still moves toward healing. I pray finally for spiritual fruit, love that is patient, joy that is resilient, peace that stands, patience that endures, kindness that surprises, goodness that persists, faithfulness that is steady, gentleness that wins, and self-control that liberates. As I close this long petition, I do not presume that every wish is granted as I ask it. I lay each request down with humility and with faith that the good that you most need will be given. I do not ask for ease above all else, but for the rightness of path. I do not ask for applause or visible signs for you, but for the unseen strength to keep walking. I ask that the Spirit does a refining, not to punish but to purify, to shape and to set you right. If you are weary, I pray that renewal comes now. If you are frightened, I pray for courage now. If you are rejoicing, I pray that the joy deepen. If you are uncertain, I pray that knowing begins. Whatever your heart carries, secret, tender, heavy, hopeful, I hand it into the presence of a faithful lover of souls. Receive what you need tonight: peace, rest, healing, courage, provision, direction, and a tenderness that will hold you when you feel most exposed. Now breathe with me, slowly, deeply. Inhale hope. Exhale fear. Inhale breath that steadies. Exhale the noise that crowds. Let each breath be a small prayer. Help me, hold me, lead me, use me. Let silence remain for a moment as a holy companion to this prayer. Allow 30 seconds of quiet here. Music can swell gently, then soften. I declare over you the words of life. May you know love that is not earned and cannot be taken. May you find courage to do the next right thing. May you be surrounded by truth. May mercy meet you in the place where you feel undone. May provision arrive with timing that honors your needs. May healing be incremental and also whole. May protection be both visible and hidden. And may your story, in its unwritten chapters, be rich with encounters that make you more compassionate, more whole, and more alive. I pray that you will have neighbors who watch for your good, friends who speak honestly, allies who back you in the tough decisions, and quiet moments where you can simply be. I pray for holy rest to become a habit and for joy to be rediscovered in ordinary tasks. I pray that your steps will be guided, your hands steadied, your heart made brave. Go now into your days with a newness, not because the world has changed overnight, but because something within you has been rearmed for endurance. Take one small step of faith tomorrow: an email, a call, a reach. Do it not from anxiety but from a quiet hope that what you do will be part of a longer story. I will keep speaking these things in prayer for you. I will not stop holding up the practical, specific requests of your life. I will call for protection, for provision, for healing, and for the boldness to step into the calling you sense even when the path looks uncertain. I will ask that fear be replaced by trust, that isolation be replaced by community, and that shame be replaced by freedom. Now, receive this benediction. May grace meet you where you are. May courage find its place in your chest like a small steady flame. May peace settle on you like a cool evening after a long day. May you sleep in safety. May you wake with a purpose reignited. May each small mercy be multiplied into larger ones. May love meet you and may you be made whole. I pray these things with reverence and with the conviction that what is spoken in faith moves toward reality. Go with peace and know that you are not alone. Amen.